morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Hassel. I'm the Executive Director at the Chelsea Chamber of Commerce, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the June 2023 Chelsea Chamber of Commerce Breakfast. I'd like to thank everyone for their support in attending this morning. Has everyone had an opportunity to have coffee and serve themselves breakfast? Please, there's plenty, so please go up for seconds. Don't be shy. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all of the continued support of the present and past chamber members. So I'd like to take an opportunity just to thank them for their attendance and their continued support. We truly appreciate it. We also want to thank city officials that are here, city members that are here. We do really continue to appreciate the ongoing support. This morning with us are two guest speakers. I'd like to introduce Sean McReynolds, the president of Joseph J. Corcoran Company. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Jennifer Corcoran, the project director of Joseph J. Corcoran Company. Jen? We're here to discuss the redevelopment project on Central Avenue. As a longtime resident of the community, I think that this project is amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing the final results. This is a partnership with the Chelsea Housing Authority, which I'd like to thank as well for their support here today. It's one of the first public-private partnerships of its kind. And so without further delay, I'd like to turn things over. All right, thanks.
Or first.
All right, please.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We're so excited to be here today. First off, this project started off many years ago with an idea about utilizing public-private partnerships and a mixed income approach to solve a public housing crisis and a housing crisis that we have. So, we're excited to be here because after a lot of trials and tribulations, and it was probably almost 7 years since we were first in this room having our first resident meeting, that we now actually have some what you call it, progress that is actually visible rather than just something on a piece of paper. So it's a testament to the city of Chelsea, the Chelsea city council, the various city members, as well as the housing authority and the residents. And this isn't about us. This is really about the Chelsea community and the fact that we were able to all coalesce around a project and a mission to really redevelop public housing and a mixed income approach. And I'm just very proud to be here today in front of all of you, and the same with Jen, and the fact that we, with the project just down the street, we have something to show for it. So today, we'll touch upon briefly the public-private partnership that is really between the Chelsea Housing Authority as well as the development team of Joseph J. Corcoran Company and John M. Corcoran, as well as our investors, Rich Marcus Partners, and our lenders, Cambridge Savings Bank. But most importantly, it's also with our residents, the Innis Resident Association, and that's really what we're here today to have. So, like I was just touching base, sorry, you guys can see all the various stakeholders in this particular project. And there were many stakeholders, and we all had to come together and really work together towards a mission of redeveloping. So today what we're really proposing is it was a mixed income model, and it's a sustained public housing model, really modeled after two Corcoran Jennison projects that were pioneered from Jen's grandfather, Joe Corcoran Sr. One was in Lynn, Massachusetts. It was this first state public housing project to be converted into a private mixed income. It was the former America Park project in Lynn, Massachusetts. And it was really in disarray in the mid-70s. And Jen's grandfather partnered with the residents and the city of Lynn to really redevelop into 441 mixed income units. And it was a third low income, a third middle income, and a third market. And it really was a pioneering model. And the other one was the Columbia Point housing project over in Dorchester that was redeveloped into Harbor Point. And one of the things about the redevelopment model that is key here is it's working with the residents, but also working with the housing authority on a sustained management and have resident services and really be focused on the residents. It's a resident first approach. So, I don't want to bore everybody with all the details. Jen's much better at communicating than I am. I can put you all to sleep, but but I did want to touch upon all that. And lastly, I just wanted to kind of give you guys a brief highlight of the project. What you know is just literally a block away from where we are. It was the former Central Avenue housing project where there were 96 public housing units and in 8 buildings, and they were built in 1950. They were all state public housing units, so they were, really intended for a lot of family veterans housing for post-war activity, and through various years of undercapitalization, it wasn't really at the fault of the housing authority, but it was just the units themselves started to really deteriorate, and there was a lack of funding that really led to them becoming obsolete. And so in around 2015, Al Ewing is here today, really looked to the state, DHCD, and with the city of Chelsea to look at some sustainable redevelopment models. That how can he redevelop the Innis project on a more sustainable path? And I got to credit Al and his team for really having a forward-thinking approach in picking us because we were sort of an out-of-the-box approach. We wanted to do more of a mixed income than a typical, what we would call LIHTC or a low-income housing tax credit, where the entire replacement is just low income. We really believe in various income elements, and so we really came in with a mixed income approach where we had low income, moderate income, and market rate all together. And that's really just been the mission of the JJC company. And I just want to credit Al and the Housing Authority for the forward vision. So without further ado, I'll hand it off to Jen because she's much better at all this. But Jen will give you an overview of the project. Thank you.
I don't want to hype it up a little at this point. Tall order to fill, but again, I'm Jen Corcoran. I was the project director throughout a lot of this project, and so we're going to give you a little overview of exactly what the development is. So many of you have probably seen this slide before because you were either on the zoning board or you were at a meeting that we threw, so apologies if it's redundant, but what we're talking about here is going to be 330 units of completely mixed income housing. That's going to include 96 replacement units, so every unit of public housing that was on the site previously is going to be replaced in kind. So the same bedroom layouts, the same residents coming back, etc. We're going to have a garage that's actually going to be the first thing to be built, just to jump ahead because I'm excited about it. It's going to be done by the end of this year, by December of 2023, which is great. So the neighborhood will be able to use that parking until the project opens to the public. It's going to be fully amenitized, so it's going to look exactly like any of the market rate buildings that you're seeing pop up all over Greater Boston, right? It's got community space, it's got recreation space, we have 3 roof decks, and all of those amenities are accessible to every single resident who lives there, regardless of their income level. So there's no rich door corridor. We're really talking about a completely mixed income project where you walk down the hallway, there's no differentiation between a middle income unit, a private market unit, or a public housing unit. You just don't know. We're also looking to have 2,000 square feet of retail space, so looking forward to talking to a lot of people in the room about that space. Looking for that to be community driven, you know, hopefully not a Starbucks or something, right? We're looking for something that people can really enjoy. And one of the central tenets of what we're going to put in there is that it's not going to be something that won't be accessible to the public housing residents. You know, it really needs to be a community space that everybody feels like is theirs. We're also going to have a modernized playground space for the kids. And also a new daycare facility on the corner there to replace the one that had been previously run by East Boston Social Centers. So it's pretty big. This graphic kind of gives a little sense of kind of the intermixing of the units, right? So that, you know, we're not centralizing the low-income units on one place, right? They're all spread out throughout the building and replaced completely in kind. Same finishes, same everything. So here is the site plan. So as you can see to the far right, that's where the garage will be. And then by the middle of 2024, we'll have that building B right there in the middle completed. And then buildings A, it goes backwards for some reason. You know, we planned this a long time ago that we really couldn't change the letters, you know, didn't know where we were going to start. So building A will be delivered in 2 different buckets. So the main thing is really getting residents, especially the public housing residents who have been relocated, back to the site as soon as possible. So people will be coming in waves with full relocation benefits, which we'll get to in a second. So these are just a few renderings. The one to the right is at the corner of Central Ave and Willow Street. And then to the left, you'll see Watts Street and what that will look like. So making sure we've got, you know, the tree cover, wide sidewalks. One of the biggest things that makes this different, right, from a lot of the low-income housing tax credit stuff that Sean was talking about, is that it's using primarily private market funding. So we're basically harnessing the power of the market in Greater Boston, right, to fill a need for the housing authority, which was how do we replace these units without relying on public subsidy that is incredibly limited, and you have to get in line for it, and it can take a lot longer for the residents. You know, there's no shortage of state public housing in Massachusetts that needs to be redone. So this is just one of the options, right? This is one way to do it, especially in a place like Chelsea that's experiencing so much growth and so much development that why don't we kind of harness a little bit of that and make it work for the public housing residents, you know? So it's a little bit robbing Peter to pay Paul and kind of, you know, a little bit of a situation like that. We also talked in this slide about kind of all of the support that was necessary. So a big thank you to seriously everybody in Chelsea. It's been amazing working here. Everybody knows each other. It's lovely. And you know, we needed a lot of different things. It was a little bit of a funky deal. Yeah, the city council was fully involved the whole way along. The planning department, the ZBA. You know, we used tax increment financing, which was a new thing. So a lot of different players. So just want to say thank you again. Huge. But we also wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the commitment to the residents. We got this, okay. So this is what we opened all of our meetings with the residents with, and Sean mentioned, you know, that we were here in this room about 7 years ago in our first meeting with them. You really want to make sure in things like this that, you know, the residents don't feel left behind and that they truly aren't left behind. So the first meeting that we held was not, you know, a big community meeting to announce to the community really. It was with just the residents of the Innis, who have been absolutely unbelievable throughout the process. They show up in droves to every single meeting, super involved in the process. Over the course of the process, they also formed an Innis resident, the Innis Resident Association, so a local tenant organization, where they can organize and they can throw events. And Melissa Booth, who couldn't be here today, is the president of the IRA. She's also now working for Housing Opportunities Unlimited as a relocation coordinator. And she was at every single meeting every week, and you know, just super committed. So it was really helpful to have that input and just to make sure that, you know, residents know that they're taken care of. And obviously when you see these promises too, it can seem a little hollow until it actually gets done. You know, you don't come in and say, you know, we're going to give you a brand new unit, your rent isn't going to change, you don't need to do anything, you know, relocation benefits will be provided to you, you'll have a washer and dryer in the unit. It sounds a little bit pie in the sky, but you have to keep showing up and just telling people, and eventually, you know, we'll have a building down the street where it will be true, you know? So reiterating all of this is super important just to make sure that, you know, everyone's on the same page and that, you know, we're kind of centering the residents' experience at the whole heart of this. So as I mentioned before, another really important thing too is that all residents will maintain the same rights they have as public housing residents. So under the state, there's plenty of rules and regulations, and we actually just stayed with many of the same regulations that are already existing in the CHA today. CHA is going to be actively participating in recertification and in lots of things, tenant selection, etc. Running the chance process, shout out, really, really big. That's huge too. So we're trying to really make it as seamless as possible for the residents. You know, we do want this to be just a good thing, right? Obviously there's like disruption in people's lives, and for that reason we make sure that throughout the process we have the relocation coordinators with us at every single meeting. So the number one question that everyone asks, you know, especially during the 5 years where there wasn't any construction yet, is, you know, when am I moving and how am I moving? And what does that mean for my family? And how am I going to get my kids to school? And all of those questions. So we make sure that the people from HOU, Housing Opportunities Unlimited, are available to them at every single meeting, just so that they can answer those questions, because everybody gets personal relocation counseling. So it's not a blanket thing. The coordinators met with every single household multiple times and made sure that they knew where kids were in school, you know, where doctors were, where jobs were, whether they take the T, whether they have a car, kind of everything that people need, you know, that's relevant to where you're going to live. We also signed a letter of assurance in February 2019 to secure every resident's right to return. That was always part of it anyway, but it's good to have it on paper and to have, you know, it signed by the president of the company and the housing authority to make sure that the resident has that in their hand as, this is my ticket back, you know, I am invited back. And during relocation, we were really happy. We made it a point to try to keep all families in Chelsea. And out of the 66 households that relocated, only 2 were relocated outside of Chelsea, and that was because they went to live with family that they chose to live with. So that was a tall order to get, you know, that many units in Chelsea, but obviously with the help of the housing authority and, you know, doing administrative transfers and all of that. And we also prioritized, you know, school-age children who are in Chelsea Public Schools. We worked with them throughout the process too, just to make sure that, you know, it was minimized disruption, and any children with disabilities or any adults with disabilities too. So, timeline going forward, this is the fun part. So I mentioned before that the garage will be done by the end of this year in 2023, and at that time too, the neighbors from Watts and the surrounding area whose parking has been impacted by the construction, we are sorry about that, but we're going to try to minimize it as much as possible and hopefully give people a covered place to park during the winter. And then that will also open up the retail space and the community space, which we can talk to people about. Building B will be completed next year, sometime in the summer and fall, and then followed by the next year in the spring, A1, and then A2 will be hopefully done by the fall as well. As long as everything, knock on wood, get some generator things going on out there, you never know. Yeah. This one's kind of boring actually. There were many challenges. I mean, everybody in this room faced challenges over COVID, right? World went haywire and things changed a lot. It's kind of the TLDR of that one. Do we have this one? Oh yeah, this one's better. Okay, so the benefits to the Chelsea community. $5 million of MassWorks grants were used, split between us and the city of Chelsea, so that work that's being done down the street is being done in tandem with us on the corner, some infrastructure work that was much needed. The new tax revenue, so after the TIF, this will be produce $3.4 million in new initial tax revenues, increasing every year. And it's a total of $150 million investment. We've got down the street construction jobs happening and also looking to increase the number of Chelsea residents that are working on the project throughout the lifetime of the project, from the construction phase all the way through. So we have some initiatives working there, which again, we'd love to talk to everybody about after this. And as well as some permanent jobs that will be available through the building management, maintenance, and the retail space and the daycare. And most importantly, obviously, the biggest benefit is that it's preserving much needed public housing. Need to build more of all types of housing, especially affordable housing. So that's probably the biggest one. So if you'd like to stay updated too, we do have a construction blog. It's very exciting. It's got pictures like this of cranes that are coming in. So if you want to be aware of what is the latest and greatest in the construction world, you can always feel free to reach out to us through there. Actually, I should have put our contact information on this last slide. Now just thinking of it, but happy to share our contact information with absolutely anybody. If you have questions at any time, you can get in touch. There's no such thing as a stupid question. And we really just appreciate really everything that everyone in this room has done to get this project to this place. So thank you so much, and we have time for questions if you've got them. Yes?
I would ask, how many properties do you manage?
Sorry?
How many properties do you manage?
So we actually don't have a management company associated with us. We're strictly development. But John M. Corcoran Company, who is going to be the manager of this project, has 14,000 units under management across the eastern east coast. And some of them actually right in Chelsea, Parkview Commons is managed by them, Parkside Commons. A lot of places that are, have commons at the end of them are JMC properties, and they have they're very creative people. They have experience both in public housing management, low-income housing management, and market. So we felt like they were a great partner to be able to, thread all those needles. It's kind of a unique. It being a unique property, it's going to have unique needs. So making sure that we have a manager who knows and is experienced with, all types of residents and regulations and everything is really important to us. Yes.
Thank you for being here. I'm Counselor Brown. I heard in your remarks that you said 96 residents would be returning, but on your display you had 64.
Yes. So over the course of the project, many people either moved out or moved to different units in the CHA portfolio. And so 96 units will be replaced, and those will be actually backfilled with the CHA waiting list and administrative transfers from other CHA sites. Okay. So the 66 residents who were living there at the time the construction started, they all get first dibs on the units based on the relocation plan. And then from there, those remaining 30 units will be filled by the CHA.
So that was my second question. So moving forward, are you dedicating the 96 units always?
Yes, 96 units will remain in perpetuity as public housing units.
Thank you.
This is the view from Central Ave, correct?
Yes.
Do you have something that shows the view from the other side on the Watts Ave here?
We do, yeah. So it's back. Let's see. I should have focused on pictures a little bit more. I realize now. Do I need the architect in the room, honestly? So yeah, to the left, that's the Watts side view. It's not.
Lower left.
Yeah, it's not as high def really as it could be, but we can definitely share some pictures if the Chamber of Commerce want to send some more things out in higher resolution and get a little bit of a better sense.
We'll gladly share any marketing materials you'd like us to share.
Awesome.
I think it's important for them to have kind of visual
Yeah.
what it's going to look like, especially on the more residential side.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yes, and also the way that the site is configured too, so that those two spaces in the middle, those are still private homes. So that's kind of the cutout there, and they've had no issues during the construction at all. And then we intentionally had the green space facing out towards Watt Street to kind of break up that massive, block, right? So from Watt Street, you're actually kind of passing by what seems like two legs of the building, right? And then you've got the other part up the top that's a little bit longer, but we really wanted to break up that massing so it didn't feel like you're walking by a wall, right?
Yes.
For parking, that one will be available at the end of December. So how that will be managed until the construction ends between December and start of the residents coming in? How that will be managed with parking?
I think we'll be having like private passes that the residents will be able to show,
So there's no resident yet.
Right, so what we'll probably do is the system will be fobbed, right? So you'll have a fob to get in and out of the garage when the residents do arrive. We'll be putting the same infrastructure into the garage already. So the residents of Watt Street will have temporary fobs to be able to get in and out, because it will still be a private
I
garage.
mean, the neighbors.
Yes, that's right. The neighbors surrounding the project, especially on Watt Street.
What about organizations? So if we need to have like temporary access there, like we have a mosque here and we have a service on Friday.
Yeah.
Like for 2 hours, will be something possible, for example, to have access during those 2 hours to use it?
We can
Yeah, we can definitely talk about that, yeah. Like I said, I would do a phone call, so haven't forgotten. Just need to figure out some of those answers, right? Because it is kind of a process that's moving along, right? So we gotta make sure that we're getting teed up for when the garage is open.
That's right.
How many parking spaces?
257 in the garage, and I think there's another 13 spaces ancillary, so 270 total.
Anything else?
Any others?
All right, well, in that case, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank
Really
you, guys.
appreciate it. We'll be available for 2 hours.
I'd like to take this opportunity once again to thank everyone for attending this morning. We have plenty of food, so please don't be shy. We're in the space until 9 o'clock, so I'd really like you to use this opportunity to do a little more socializing and networking. There are some great individuals in this room, and I really hope that everyone gets an opportunity to meet one another. I really would like, again, to take this opportunity to thank one of our sponsors, Ruma's Pallets. Thank you very much for helping us sponsor. We'd also like to take the opportunity to thank Starbucks for providing the coffee and some patience this morning. And at this time, I really do want to take an opportunity. It's been about a year now since I've accepted this position, and it's been a whirlwind. But the board has been absolutely amazing. Not only the current board members, but also the past board members. Those that are no longer members of the board, but are still involved and still give out words of encouragement. Just to name a few, we have Joe Bernard, our immediate past president. We have Sue Gillard, former board member as well. Peter from Welsh Funeral Home, thank you very much. Our new treasurer, Bruce Mock. And of course, David Midland. And last but certainly not least, or actually we have two more. Beth McDougall. And then one of our newest board members, Romy Gold from Margolis Pharmacy. And then, of course, our sponsor from Ruma's Pallets, Luis Enrique Mine. I'd also like to take this opportunity to gift our speakers with a small gift and token from the Chelsea Chamber of Commerce. These are actually Chelsea clocks. We look forward to continuing this partnership. I think this is, just the beginning. I mean, for those of us that have been here for decades, we're seeing the transition happen. It's a beautiful thing. Evolution is kind of inevitable, right? So we embrace it. We appreciate you taking the time to speak, to kind of give us visuals, to put things in context. Please be sure to share the information that you learned here today. And my sincere apologies, it looks like I overlooked one of the most supportive that have been here. Arthur Osenart. To say a few words about Arthur, he's no longer on the board, but he's volunteering his time as our secretary, so I can't appreciate that enough. Thank you, Arthur. So again, please, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Please have more coffee. Please help yourselves to seconds. And please be sure to let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much.
Hey.